Hello everyone, I am Rajni मीना, असिस्टेंट प्रोफेसर डिपार्टमेंट ऑफ इंग्लिश, गवर्नमेंट कॉलेज रावतवाटा। आप सभी का मेरे यूट्यूब चैनल इंग्लिश ट्यूटोरियल में स्वागत करती हूँ। आज हम जॉन ड्राइडन के बारे में पढ़ेंगे। जॉन ड्राइडन वॉज एन इंग्लिश पोइट, लिटरेरी क्रिटिक, ट्रांसलेटर, playwright who was appointed England's first poet laureate in 1668. He is seen as dominating the literary life of Restoration England to such a point that the period came to be known in literary circles as the Age of Dryden. Romanicist writer Sir Walter Scott called Dryden ग्लोरियस जॉन। ड्राइडन की अर्ली लाइफ के बारे में। ड्राइडन वॉज बोर्न इन द प्लेस रेक्टरी ऑफ एल्डविंसल नियर थ्रेप्स्टन इन नॉर्थहैम्पशायर on 9 August 1631. His maternal grandfather was rector of All Saints. He was the eldest of 14 children of Sir Erasmus Dryden, first baronet, and the wife Frances Bilkis, Puritan landowning gentry who supported the Puritan cause and Parliament. He was a second cousin, once removed, of Jonathan Swift. As a boy, Dryden lived in the nearby village of Titchmarsh, where it is likely that he received his first education. In 1644, he was sent to Westminster School as a king's scholar, where his headmaster was Dr. Richard Busby, a charismatic teacher and severe disciplinarian. Having been refounded by Elizabeth I, Westminster during this period embraced a very different religious and political spirit, encouraging royalism and high Anglicanism. Whatever Dryden's response to this was, he clearly respected the headmaster and would later send two of his sons to school at Westminster. In 1650, Dryden went up to Trinity College, Cambridge. Here he would have experienced a return to the religious and political ethos of his childhood. The master of Trinity was a Puritan preacher by the name of Thomas Hill, who had been a rector in Dryden's home village. Though there is little specific information on Dryden's undergraduate years, he would most certainly have followed the standard curriculum of classics, rhetoric, and mathematics. In 1654, he obtained his BA, graduating top of that list of Trinity that year. In June of the same year, Dryden's father died, leaving him some land which generated a little income, but not enough to live on. Returning to London during the Protectorate, Dryden obtained work with Oliver Cromwell's Secretary of State, John Thurlow. This appointment may have been the result of the influence exercised on his behalf by his cousin, the Lord Chamberlain, Sir Gilbert Pickering, at Cromwell's funeral on 23rd November 1658. Dryden processed with the Puritan poets John Milton and Andrew Marvell. Shortly hereafter, he published his first important poem, Heroic Stanzas. In 1659, a eulogy on Cromwell's death which is cautious and prudent in its emotional display. In 1660, Dryden celebrated the restoration of monarchy and the return of Charles II with the Astraea Redux, an authentic royalist panegyric. In this work, the Integumenus illustrated as a time of chaos, and Charles is seen as the restorer of peace and order. His later life and career. After the restoration on as Dryden quickly established himself as the leading poet and literary critic of his days, he transferred his allegiances to the new government. Along with the Astraea Redux, Dryden welcomed the new regime with two more panegyrics: to His Sacred Majesty, a panegyric on his coronation 1662, and to My Lord Chancellor 1662. These poems suggest that Dryden was looking to court a possible patron, but he was to instead make a living in writing for publishers, not for the aristocracy, and thus ultimately for the reading public. These and his other non-dramatic poems and occasional, that is, they celebrated public events. Thus, they are written for the nation rather than self, and the poet laureate is obliged to write a certain number of these per annum. In November 1662, Dryden was proposed for membership in the Royal Society, and he was elected as early fellow. However, Dryden was inactive in society affairs, and in 1660 he was expelled for non-payment of his dues. On 1 December 1663, Dryden married to the royalist sister of Sir Robert Horwood, Elizabeth, Lady Elizabeth. Dryden's work occasionally contained outbursts against the married state, but also celebrations of the same. Thus, little is known of the intimate side of his marriage. Lady Elizabeth bore three sons, and outlived her husband. With the reopening of theatres in 1660 after the Puritan wane, Dryden began writing plays. His first play, The Wild Gallant, appeared in 1663 and was not successful, but was still promising, and from 1668 on he was contracted to produce 3 plays a year for the King's Company, in which he became a shareholder. During the 1660 and 1670s, the theatrical works was his main source of income. He led the way in Restoration comedy. His best plays works into Mary's Ella Maud, as well as heroic tragedy and regular tragedy, in which his greatest success was All for Love 1678. Dryden was never satisfied with his theatrical writings and frequently suggested that his talents were wasted on unworthy an audience. He thus was making a bid for poetic fame of stage. In 1667, around the same time his dramatic career began, he published Annus Mirabilis, a lengthy historical poem which described the English defeat of Dutch naval fleet and the Great Fire of London in 1666. It was a modern epic in pentameter quatrains that established him as the pre-eminent poet of his generation, and was crucial in his attaining the post of Poet Laureate 1668 and his Historiographer Royal 1670. When the Great Plague of London closed the theatre in 1665, Dryden retreated to Wiltshire, where he wrote of dramatic poesy, arguably the best of his unsystematic preface and essays. Dryden constantly defended his own literary practice and of dramatic poesy. The longest of his critical works takes the form of a dialogue in which four characters, each based on a prominent contemporary, with Dryden himself was a Neander. Dryden himself was Neander, debate the merits of classical, French, and English drama. The greater part of his critical works introduce problems which he is eager to discuss and show the work of a writer of independent mind who feels strongly about his own ideas. Ideas which demonstrate the breadth of his reading. He felt strongly about the relation of the poet to tradition and the creative process. And his best heroic play, Aurangzeb, 1675, has a prologue with denounces the use of rhyme in serious drama. His play All for Love 1678 was written in blank verse and was to immediately follow Aurangzeb. At around 8 p.m. on 18 December 1679, Dryden was attacked in Rose Alley behind the Lamb and Flag pub near his home in Covent Garden by thugs hired by the Earl of Rochester, with whom he had a long standing conflict. The pub was notorious for staging bare knuckle prize fights, earning the nickname the Bucket of Blood. Dryden's poem An Essay upon Satire contained a number of attacks on King Charles II, his mistresses and courtiers, but most pointedly on the Earl of Rochester, a notorious Beaumaniser. Rochester responded by hiring thugs who attacked Dryden whilst walking back from Bill's Coffee House back to his house on Girard Street. Dryden survived the attack, offering $50 for the identity of thugs placed in the London Gazette, and a royal pardon if one of them would confess. No one claimed the reward. Dryden's greatest achievement was in satiric verse. The mock heroic epic Macflagno, a mere personal product for his laureate years, was a lampoon circulated in manuscript and an attack on the playwright Thomas Shadwell. Dryden's main goal in the work is to satirize Shadwell ostensibly for his offences against the literature, but more immediately we may suppose for his habitual buzzing of him on the stage and in print. It is not a belittling form of satire, but rather one which makes his object great in ways which are unexpected, transferring the ridiculous into history. This line of satire continued with Absalom and Achitophel and the Medal 1682. His other major works from Church of England in 1683 edition of Plutarch's Lives, translated from the Greek by several hands, in which he introduced the word biography to English readers, and The Hind and the Panther 1687, which celebrates his conversion to Roman Catholicism. He wrote Britannia Redivivia, celebrating the birth of his son and heir to the Catholic king and queen on 10 June 1688. When later in the same year James II was deposed in the Glorious Revolution, Dryden's refusal to take the oaths of allegiance to the new monarchs, William and Mary, left him out of favour at court. Thomas Shadwell succeeded him as poet laureate, and he was forced to give up his public offices and live with the proceeds of his pen. Dryden translated works by Horace, Juvenal, Ovid, Lucretius, Theocritus, a task which he found far more satisfying than writing for the stage. In 1694, he began work on what would be his most ambitious and defining work as translator, the works of Virgil 1697, which was published by subscriptions. The publication of the translation of Virgil was a national event and brought Dryden the sum of $1,400. His final translation appeared in the volume Fables, Ancient and Modern 1700, a series of episodes from Homer, Ovid, Boccaccio, as well as modernized adaptations from Geoffrey Chaucer. Interspersed with Dryden's own poems as a translator, he made great literary works in the older language available to readers of English. Dryden died on 12 May 1700 and was initially buried at St. Anne's Cemetery in Soho before being exhumed and reburied in Westminster Abbey in 10 days later. He was the subject of poetic eulogies such as Luctus Britannici or the Tears of British Muses for the death of John Dryden, and Nine Muses, a Royal Society of Art blue plaque, commemorates Dryden at 43 Gerrard Street in London's Chinatown. He lived at 173 Long Acre from 1682 to 1686 and at 43 Gerrard Street from 1686 until his death. In his will, he left the George Inn at Northampton to trustees to form a school for the children of poor of the town. This became John Dryden's School, later the Orange School. Thanks for watching my video.